So today's word is intention. And when that word intention comes with photography, is what are you intending to do with photography, with a camera, with a bunch of lenses, film, digital, all that. What is your intention? Are you wanting to print photos? Are you wanting to put it on a website? Are you wanting to put it on social media? Are you wanting to just keep the memories safe and, all that jazz? Just almost slipped. But another question is, when someone asks you, as a photographer or someone who's known to take photos, that, hey, we're going to this place, it's really cool, are you going to take photos? Most of the time you will say yes, but in most scenarios, what are you taking? Yes. You're usually taking your phone. And why? And why are we taking our phone? Because nowadays, phones are taking the same photos as cameras and sometimes even better. Because of all the software that's put inside of it, because most phone companies want you to buy their phone, but also you have a great camera sensor in there that's good for photo and video. So it's almost taking away that intention of going to a camera store, buying a camera, buying a bunch of lenses, buying accessories, and going out and taking photos, because now you're just going to a tech store or a phone shop and buying a phone and going, well, how's the camera features on it? Is it going to give me good photos? Is it going to give me this? Is it going to give me that? And most of the time, the person will say yes, because in a sense, the phone is going to give you a good photo, but it's not your camera. And now, this is obviously the iPhone Air, and it's not going to take greater photos than my camera. Now, why am I saying all this? Well, that's because the iPhone and social media killed my photography. Now, I need a coffee because I haven't had one all day because it's been a whole run around. So, let's go make one. Cool. Alright, let me start off with the whole social media thing, because everyone talks about social media, whether it's good, whether it's bad. I grew up in a world where my generation was all heavily influenced by it. Now with me, I made multiple accounts. Hang on, I'm gonna grab a stool. I made multiple accounts, and the one that I'm on is probably my second or third. And let's just say I followed in a lot of people's footsteps and wanted to, be a photographer and be my own thing and all that. And, that resulted in me getting burnt out. So if you don't know about being burnt out, it's essentially just being unmotivated. And yeah, that resulted in me not using my cameras a lot, even though with all the range that I have, I'm better now, obviously, but that's beside the point. When I look at my Instagram profile, for example, I just don't like it. As much as I love the photos that I'm posting and I'm, not being influenced on anything, my intention is not there. It's not, my intention to take photos for the past few months, maybe a year, is I need to find something to post. I haven't posted in a while. I need to go out and take a photo and be like, bang, this is what I want. And essentially, whether that's on my camera, I've usually resulted to going to my phone and just going, bang, taking a nice photo, taking a nice landscape and posted that and going, all right, I'm done. And that essentially killed my photography. So, what has the iPhone got to do with it? So this was my iPhone 14 Pro, and I had the choice to go to the iPhone 17 Pro or the iPhone Air. And now the big thought was, all right, well, do I go for the 17 Pro and kind of future-proof myself and, you know, have all the lenses and have like 4 times optical zoom and be able to take great photos when I'm out places and just future-proof myself? Or do I go to the iPhone Air and have the camera not be as good and really change my whole mindset of how I use a phone? So I bought the iPhone Air. Essentially, I want to treat the iPhone Air as a phone. You know, I feel like there's too many apps where I can download and, you know, use the full spectrum of the camera and, you know, get great photos or great videos, and, you know, that essentially is taking away my opportunity to bring my R, or, you know, bring my Fuji, or bring my Yashica, or my Canon AE1 for the, you know, I want to be able to take great photos, and as much as the phone is going to take great photos, why would I take the phone? It's just so much easier to, you know, bring a camera, because I'm going to be able to get a larger scale photo and, you know, be able to print them and feel good about taking photos and get more creatively inspired to take more photos or make videos. And, you know, that's why I'm making this video, because, you know, I love photography and I don't want photography to be ruined by a phone and, you know, all that technology, because camera brands make cameras so you can take photos the way you want. You know, you always, I'm getting amped up, but the phone is always going to do something different to the photo to make it better for a normal standpoint, but for you it could just be entirely different. And, you know, I can't be bothered to download an app that's just gonna make it easier for me. That's just not who I am. I'm a photographer, and I love buying cameras, and I love buying lenses, and I love buying accessories for cameras to make things, you know, to make art. You know, that's my big thing. I love, like, everything is just art. Sorry, I'm going off track here. I'm actually getting hot now. Oh, sorry. You know, when it comes to the phone, when it comes to social media, I want to treat my whole page as a social platform. You know, I don't, you know, you come to my profile and you see this is all fine. Everything that I post is fine, but it's not a portfolio. You know, you're not meant to go to my profile to be like, oh, what photos did you take today? It's more, what have I gotten up to? And that's why I've created a lot more reels now. You know, I was never a big reels guy. I never liked making those type of videos because I was just not a content creator. But I've seen it more as, I go and take photos and I make films and, you know, videos, because that is my hobby. That is what I want my career to be. So I do that. And then I have Instagram as a social platform to be a behind the scenes, you know, behind my life of being a photographer and a filmmaker, that I can take photos on my phone, I can post the photos that I take on my camera, and I can make reels talking about photography and filmmaking and talking about cameras and everything. And, you know, that's what I want it to be. I think that's where my problem was with everything. I never actually found out what I wanted to do, so that's that. I'm just rambling because I'm very passionate about this. And, you know, a lot of people would say, why don't you just get the 17 Pro? Like, you might as well. Like, what if you can't take your camera out? And it's like, well, so what? You know, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad. The iPhone Air's, you know, 1x camera is, you know, still 48 megapixels. So if I don't have the intention to take photos, I can still get a decent photo out of it. You know, but I'm not going to resort to this. I'm not going to just leave my cameras here. I didn't build out this office. I didn't buy these cameras. I didn't buy the lenses. I didn't make this gallery wall, not coming soon, to use my phone. And that is the big thing with the word intention. You know, what is your intention with the camera? What is your intention with photography? And the number one question I see is, oh, but if I buy this camera, is it going to be better than the photos on my phone? Because the phone takes great photos. Yes. The easiest answer is yes. You know, it's not the, oh, well, the phone's going to do this and, you know, it's going to, you know, somewhat make it better. But when you zoom, the camera's going to be better. The straight answer is just yes. The camera is 100 times better because it's your intention. You're going into this shop, you're looking online, you're looking at cameras because it is your intention to take photos. You're not worried about this. You're comparing this to the camera because you're worried that if I invest so much money, I can just take photos on my phone. But that doesn't matter. The money shouldn't matter. It should be the intention. Because I'm not going to get dressed for a day, go somewhere nice, and just bring this and just, you know, slot into the pocket, and that's it. You know, I want to take this, but then I bring this, you know, strap this around, you know, can carry this, because I want to be seen as a photographer. I want to be seen that, oh, this guy takes photos. This is cool, you know. It's cool to see someone with a camera out. No one, like, I'm sorry, I'm going more in depth with this, but like, taking a photo like this, like that, or like that, what is that? You know, take off the lens card, pull out the viewfinder and focus up. Well, you know, if you have a digital camera, you got autofocus, but you know, advance and then shoot. You know, we need more of that. I'm bringing you back over here now because I need to sit down properly. I need to sit in this chair. I've been sick. But that's what I'm bringing here. This is what this whole video is about. It's the intention of photography. You know, the reason I'm making this video on a camera is because it is my intention to post this and, you know, use the camera's sensor and use the fancy lens that I have to make this video. And I won't lie, I can see why people are going to the phone. You know, cameras are bulky. They've made compact ones now. And I can see it. I can see why they're popular and why people go towards them. But for me as a photographer, and for probably anyone out there as a photographer or a filmmaker, you know, as much as you can go, well, if I can make it on a phone, I can make it on a camera, but, you know, that's not the point. The point is you're buying the camera to use it, you know, to get you further in this hobby or career and build on it. You know, it's something you love. And that's how I see it. Long story short, out of this entirely long video that didn't need to be as long, but because I needed to rant on it, you know, get a camera. You know, don't worry about this. This is merely a tool to send messages, take calls, receive calls, post on social media, take a quick snap, and that's it. Well, I mean, that's what I'm going to use it for. You know, this is a phone to me. From age, like, I don't know, 11, we'll go, that's a rough age, 11 to 16 with an iPhone 4 or an iPhone 8. You know, that was the phone. That was the phone of the times. It never had a great camera, was never meant for photography. It was merely a phone. And I think going to the Air for me is what's going to bring that back. Is what is allow me to go out and take photos with a camera, and, you know, if someone calls me, I can answer it. I'm not going to be mid-photo, be like, oh, hang on, I'm just getting a really good landscape. That's it. You know, if you see a selfie from me on my Instagram, or, you know, nothing that's a good photo, that's just a photo, or even just a random reel, don't question it. That's just what it is. Instagram for me is a social platform. You can see the behind the scenes of how I make these photos, how I make these videos, and, you know, more of my office, which is due to come, I promise. And that's all it'll be. You know, I'll still share my photos, but, you know, if you want my best photos, head to bentleycopus.com. See my portfolio there. That's really it. You know, I'm gonna take photos and make videos on those photos and show them on YouTube, and that's, again, this is my behind the scenes of everything and just rambling on about nonsense, but, you know, that's my intention with all this. So whenever you go out, it's getting darker. So when you're going out and you're going to take some photos, or you're looking for a camera, think about your intention. What is your intention in taking a photo? What is your intention of buying a camera? Because I can guarantee that the phone is not going to do it for you. So thank you all for watching. I will see you all in the next video, whichever that is. Keep social. Follow me on the platforms. You know, if you want to see my behind the scenes stuff, go for it. But yeah, that's all.